Getting ready to step into your career era? Set yourself apart with Adobe Creative Cloud Pro for students. Hone your skills with apps like Photoshop, Illustrator, Premiere Pro, and more, powered with the latest in creative AI. Students save over 55% so you can build a portfolio you're proud of. Launch your future with Adobe Creative Cloud Pro for students. Visit adobe.com/students to learn more.
Welcome to the Tour Coach Podcast. I'm Tony Ruggiero here, as I always am, your host, and you're joining in on what we are now having as the Tour Coach Minis. And those are little 10-minute conversations with myself or Jackson Koert, who's going to be hosting some of this. Most of you are all familiar with Jackson. Great young teacher, now at Atlantic Beach Country Club, and he spends a lot of time with us. And we've invited Jackson to be part of this. He does such a good job, spends so much time. But these will be 10-minute conversations and musings from around the world of golf, from around our travels, our friends, our players, other coaches, to give you more Tour Coach, more Dew Sweeper content during the week. So you now have got your main Tour Coach podcast coming on Mondays, followed by a mini on Wednesday and a mini on Friday. So you've got all the Dew Sweepers, all the Tour Coach you could ever want. And just like the Dew Sweepers radio show or the Tour Coach podcast, the Tour Coach minis are brought to you by our friends at Shrixon Golf, our friends at Bushnell, Buick, GMC, especially Mitch McConnell and McConnell Automotive. And you can't forget Vineyard Vines that keep us all looking good. So enjoy this episode of the Tour Coach Mini. And we're here with all the golf content you could ever want each and every week.
Sitting here at Old Palm with Dan Terlescki, Director of Golf at Old Palm. Been here for 8 years. Yep. And as I had mentioned the first time, Old Palm is a very special place. I love coming down here. Been privileged to come down for a couple of years now, knowing Mark Hackett and Tony and getting to know yourself and doing golf schools and member functions here. But besides the facilities and the awesome golf course, which just went through renovation.
Yeah, the golf course was renovated 2 years ago. Clubhouse, 2 different versions of renovations just wrapped up a couple of months ago.
Mm-hmm. Incredible practice facilities. Golf studio, awesome range front and back, phenomenal short game area, and then 3 practice holes.
Yeah, it's unique.
Yeah.
And that's what really stands out amongst the facilities here.
It's really good.
Yeah.
But as I had mentioned before, my favorite part about this place is the culture. Right, I've worked at a bunch of clubs and been in golf almost my entire life, so I have experienced many different cultures. And the culture here is incredible, which is reflected, in my opinion, top to bottom. So that's a kudos to you for what you've created here. And cultures are difficult to build, can be difficult to build, and easy to ruin. So talk a little bit about that and the value with employees here.
Yeah, thank you. That's something that we're proud of, and I think all of us are proud of that, myself especially. When I first got here 8 years ago and interviewed and ultimately accepted the job, you recognize right away the facility as soon as you walk in, the care that was taken to plan the place and the pride that's taken in the membership amenities. Mm-hmm. And so that was important to have a staff culture and a membership culture that reflects that. I'm proud of the fact that we've had, in the 8 years that I've been here, I believe 6 assistants move into either head professional roles or director of instruction roles at other facilities.
Which is incredible.
It's been a lot of fun. I'm proud of it, and it creates energy amongst the team here, and we've got a reputation for that. In part because of who we hire, but as much as anything, I'm proud of the fact that we grow our team, from the bottom up. We hire pretty much only at the entry level, and then they stay with us for a few years, and we grow them each year towards a goal, mm-hmm. right? Towards a goal of ultimately moving on. Which that's when you talk about that in the interview with people, that can scare some people off. Some people want to know that they're going to be at a place for a long time and have that comfort. But for us, it's known right away that you are here to be eventually something bigger, and that's what everybody's expectation is. It's been a lot of fun.
Yeah, it'll be cool too down the road to see like the roots of those, maybe at the latter end of your career.
Sure.
Being able to look back and see the roots that you've planted with these people that have left and gone other places, and hopefully that culture is planted at their clubs and continues to spread across the industry in that regard, which would be great for the sport that we love.
I hope so. Time will tell, but I'm proud of the start that we have.
Yeah.
So.
Okay, so flipping the switch towards instruction, we had last night a Sips and Tips with Brad Faxon, who's a member here.
Yeah, we're fortunate that Brad's a member here, as well as obviously a tremendous resource. This weekend is all about short game, and so who better than a resident who can talk about putting like Brad.
Yeah.
So it was great.
Yeah. So as he went through it, his information was incredible. I think it was good, too, because at a rudimentary level, people could understand it. And then he did go into detail. The way he described it was great.
Yeah.
And I think being able to create that understanding and then allow them to go from there, because he went into green reading and speed control and grip. And
covered a lot. Yeah.
Covered a lot. But the way he created it from that baseline and went in those different directions in each aspect was great. And he talked about very simple ways to practice, which was beautiful.
Yeah, and I love that, right? Because we do have a tremendous facility, and we've got obviously it's a residential community here, so our members live here, right? They play golf; they also live here, so they're at the facility a lot, right? And they come to the practice facility, and we see them on a daily basis. And one of the things that I hope to change all the time and talk to people about is the way that they practice or the habits that they have when they practice, and taking advantage of those facilities to actually improve. You see so many people that they practice, and I've got air quotes going on right now that you can't see, obviously, but they're not really practicing getting better at anything. They're just spending time, right? And usually they're spending time doing things that they're already comfortable doing or doing things that they're already good at, or they have the same routine every day. Rather than maybe even simplifying their practice and getting better at something, some sort of skill.
And maybe not even having an awareness of how to apply that to the golf course.
Absolutely.
Right.
Yeah, absolutely. What am I actually trying to accomplish here while I'm practicing?
Correct.
Yeah.
It's a tough gap to bridge sometimes, even with good players, right? As if they're working on something, how to take that to the golf course.
Yeah.
Growing up, the only reason I was any good at golf was because I worked really hard, but I made it very complicated for a long time.
Yep.
And I get into college, and my coach, Kenneth Staten, who's a two-time All-American at Florida State, phenomenal player, made golf very simple.
Yep.
And that's when I saw a ton of growth in my game, especially playing in consistency with score, which everybody wants to be more consistent, whether you're a 30 handicap or 2. So if you had maybe a blanket statement or direction to help people with how they practice, would you have some advice for somebody?
Yeah, actually, I've thought about this and actually talked about this quite a bit. So I'll tell you a quick story. So when I was growing up as a kid and a junior golfer up in the Northeast, I did not belong to a country club, right? I'm fortunate to have worked at some of the best clubs in the country and seen that, like here at Old Palm, for instance, you go to the range, you get an unlimited number of golf balls, right? It never runs out. You can get as many as you want. When I was a kid growing up and playing junior golf, I literally had whatever golf balls I found or whatever golf balls came out of my bag, and I would go in my backyard, which I lived in a neighborhood with other houses, right? And I would hit balls or I would chip between and amongst the houses in the grass spaces, right? And so I learned to control the golf ball because I didn't want to hit anybody's house, right?
Okay.
And I would cringe because it happened every once in a while. A ball would get away from me and would crash into the siding on somebody's house. Fortunately, no windows. B, I didn't want to lose any of my golf balls, right? Because I had to go find them after I hit them. And so I would pick a tree or pick a discolored patch of grass or something to chip to. And knowing that I had to find all those golf balls at the end, it made me focus on where they were going, right? And so I got really good at that, and it took it to the golf course, and it helped me to control the golf ball on the golf course. Now, fast forward to where I am today as an instructor, I tell people all the time in their practice habits and in my lessons, stop thinking of the bucket of balls as an endless supply that you're just hitting towards a target over and over again. Take 6 balls out of the bucket, and those are your 6 balls to practice with, right? And if you're chipping, go chip them, pick them up after you've chipped 6 balls, and find a different spot, and then chip them again and go pick them up. I promise you, there's a psychological component to that if you have to physically walk yourself and pick up the balls, you will be more careful about how tight your pattern is, because you don't want to walk very far and you don't want to go trudging down the hill after the stray ball that you hit, right? So it's a real simple thing, and I know what we're here for, to provide service, is to pick up the balls. I get that, and that's our job. But if you are truly trying to practice to get better, take onus on that as the player, because it will force you to get better just simply by doing that, right? And then beyond that, the skill that you're working on, I find that most people either overcomplicate what they're working on, or they just do what feels comfortable and has always felt comfortable. They're not really sure what they're working on.
Yeah. Can't confuse, Tony says this all the time, you can't confuse comfort with correct.
Right. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So it is a challenge creating a practice plan, right? But I think personally, I've gotten a little bit better at that, right? It's like structuring a lesson, right? Like figure out what's going on, figure out how to help them. And at the end of the lesson, as you boil it down, I have to save some time to say, okay, when you go practice, if I were you, this is what I would do. And you can walk them through that. And it doesn't have to be complex, but that's having a plan, right? Like in members at a lot of nice places, they run businesses and they're great in their respective fields, but then they go to the golf course and they don't know what the heck they're doing.
Right.
That's not how they would operate on a daily basis. And so if you can provide some sort of platform for them to start to create ownership in that, they're going to get better.
Right.
Okay. And so if you're not lucky enough to take a lesson from one of us at Old Palm, Dan or Hack or Tony, if you're going to take a lesson from somebody, my shot would be ask for a plan.
Yeah.
All right, if you don't get one, you need to take that ownership and say, hey, what can I do, or how can I do things? Because it's great maybe to know what to work on, but if you don't know how to do that, I think that application is lacking for sure, and is something that it's easy too.
Yeah, and also in conjunction with that, find out from the instructor or the professional, what is the indicator that would tell you you're actually getting better, right? Because it's not always that the ball goes in the hole. That is not always the practice result, right? It's the game result, of course. We want to get the ball in the hole. But it's not always the practice result. You can stand there for a while and figure out how to get the ball into the hole with bad habits.
Yep.
But if you're actually trying to change your habits so that they're applicable on the course, there might be a different indicator that you should be looking for, and find out what that is.
Yeah. I love that. It's like, people will talk about block and random practice, right? And last night, Brad was talking to the members, and he used the word exercise instead of drill. I think that's a great visual, right? And great concept. And so there's also like a training aspect and a performance aspect. And those are probably two different ways of practice.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, first of all, I appreciate your time, Dan. I think we crushed it the second go around.
Okay, yeah. The lights are still on. That's a good sign.
The lights are still on. That's a good thing. So thank you for your time, and really appreciate your influence on myself. I still like to think of me as a young...
You're very young. Yeah, doing well.
Yeah. A young golf instructor, and it's great to have people that have a high standard of excellence and professionalism, because those are things to aspire to, whether you're coaching golf or you're in operations or you're in outside ops.
My pleasure. It's been a pleasure getting to know you, and appreciate being here today.
And this won't be the last time we have you.
Cool.
All right. Thanks, Dan.
That's good.
Hi, this is Tony Ruggiero. And look, recently, several teachers I know and several players have had some scares with skin cancer. fact, I recently went and saw a dermatologist here in town, and I had a couple things frozen off, eyelid, my face, my earlobe, and not getting any younger. And I know it's getting to that time of the season where it's cooler, but look, being in the sun is a real deal, and I've not been very good, to be totally honest, my whole career at using it at all, because I didn't like how greasy it was, how hard it was to get off your hands, how it clogged up my pores. And then I found this sunscreen, Visor Skincare. It's clear, it goes on, it doesn't dry you out, it isn't greasy, it's like you didn't put anything on it. By far, it's the best sunscreen I've ever used. Without a doubt, is the easiest to use. And we've got a discount code for all of you. All you have to do is go to visorskincare.com, is use our code word DewSweeper. Visorskincare.com, code word DewSweeper. I just want to remind everybody something that I forgot. Recently, a couple weeks ago, my wife and I went out. We went to a wedding, and afterwards with some friends, we were like, hey, where's a great place to go? I'll be honest, in my travels and day-to-day, sometimes I get caught up and I forget some of the great places right around the corner. But I got to remind you about the Icebox Bar on 755 Monroe Street. I was blown away by just the whole vibe, the atmosphere, and with the Velvet Pig, the food in the back room, and the big screen TVs up front. We sat there and watched some playoff games. I was blown away by the atmosphere, the vibe, and just how cool it was to have the Icebox Bar right here near the Dew Sweepers downtown, near where I live. You're looking for a great place to go sit, watch some games, hang out, play some pool, you got to go to the Icebox Bar right there on Monroe Street. There's a good chance you'll see all of us hanging out. But do yourself a favor, go visit the Icebox. It's one of the best places out there.